grower or whatever the phrase, farmer, I don't know. And you could be like, well, where's the fruit, and get impatient, rather than that it happens slowly in its growing. You've got to water every day. I've got to cultivate it. You've got to thin things. You've got to get rid of all the caterpillars that I've been fighting. And
so many
it takes
caterpillars have
a
died.
lot of, like you say, behind the scenes, that slow growth. You don't just jump to the amazing healing transformation testimonies overnight necessarily. That you've got to.
And I think that's how God works, isn't it? He's always he's not about the quick fix or the plaster over a wound. It's always a slow process, because he takes the time with us, doesn't he? He's patient.
Which is very countercultural to
which
what
is
we
very,
used to.
when you can get everything at the tip of your finger, it's very countercultural to how we think. And
Shall we welcome our next guest?
Our last guest. Who's it going to be? It's Angela. Woo! Amazing.
I'm really glad we went with these chairs.
You fall off the stools. I would have. So, hi, Angela. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Good. Well, so for those, again, who don't know you, why don't you just share a little bit about you, how you came to faith?
Yeah, I will do. And apologies, because I think I did this about 3 months ago, a little bit. But I'm not going to touch on that.
We missed that, so fill us in.
That's fine. Do you know what? It's really difficult to follow what Jackie's just brought up here in Daniel, if I'm honest. I feel a little bit overwhelmed. But if I think about my journey, if you wanted to characterise who I am as a Christian, I would call myself the hokey-cokey Christian, because I've had my left leg in and my left leg out, and my right arm in and my right arm out for some time. Thankfully, you've got my whole self in now, which is good. And I'm just reflecting on what you were saying there, Andy, about how God is patient. Yeah. Oh, blimey, he was patient with me. He was really patient with me. And I think my testimony of having so many people come into my life at different times, I didn't, it didn't take just one blast and I was there. I question a lot. I'm a really questioning person. I need to know all the answers. Some of this will come a bit more evident in a minute, in terms of I have maybe some issues with control. Who doesn't? Just put it out there. Just put it out there. And so it took a lot of people and a lot of drip feeding for me to get where I've got to. And even now, I'm so grateful for my church family and the people that are around me. I didn't grow up in a Christian household, although my dad did tell me the other day that he considers himself a Christian, so a bit of a breakthrough, which is very exciting. So I just think it was everyone who added into my life, and I feel it's a privilege to even be sat here. And I think that's what drives me and how I talk about my faith to others and how I bring that into the world that I live in. So for those of you who don't know, so my husband and my 2 children will adamantly define any form of Christianity. I think my oldest daughter denies it way too much, because I think there's something under there, but she just wants to, a bit like Daniel was saying, she just wants to fit in, love her. My youngest will do anything to please me, so if I asked her to, she would probably get baptised. She'd do all sorts of things for me, but I'd never ask her to do that, love her, because she needs to find her own way in life. And my husband, I think, is just a curious soul, and it's quite countercultural for him. He's Japanese, and I think, there is something that he has just not been in that world, and it's a very different environment. Saying earlier as well, Andy, about talking about your faith and not compartmentalising it. And I think I fall foul of that sometimes, if I'm honest, around focusing probably more on how I bring my faith into the workplace than I do in my own family life. So that's a bit of an eye-opener for me this morning, actually, around how I do that.
Yeah, amazing. So how do you bring God into sort of your daily life, into your work and family context?
Yeah, so I had a bit of a I'll be really honest with all of you, which is slightly daunting. I nearly didn't come this morning because, and the reason for that was because I didn't think I was probably good enough to be sat here. Because as I was writing down what I was going to talk about, I was like, that's out of Tosh. You're not living that at the moment.
We're all works in progress, though, aren't we? Like
aren't we just?
Yeah.
Aren't we just?
Yeah.
And I think Simon's words at the beginning, God loves you as you come and who you are.
Absolutely.
And a bit like Bex said, I'm not responsible for the salvation of mankind. Thank goodness for that, because we're in a bit of a pickle if I am. And so I almost didn't come because I was thinking, well, what do I say? How can I sit here and kind of talk about my world? And I think I am a work in progress. So I'm a bit like Jackie in terms of this is all very relational for me. It's about my relationship with God, and amazing things happen when I spend time with him. But equally, when I don't, it impacts so deeply that I kind of go into my state of really not worthy, and actually, who am I to be doing about this? But some amazing, if I look at just my past week, which has been quite stressful, some amazing things have happened, and I try to bring my faith in, and I talked about before having nudges. It's become a bit more habitual than that, actually. So I have lots of ways of bringing it into conversation, because if I think about my journey, it was the people who spoke about their faith in the workplace, but not kind of preaching to me, but would go, what did you do at the weekend? I went to church. And I'd be like, oh. So then maybe about 2 weeks later, I might go, oh, you said you went to church. Tell me more about that. It's providing openings for people, I think. So Tuesday was a classic example of this for me. So Monday night, I didn't sleep very well. So I was talking to God and praying, because I couldn't sleep, and with nothing in particular, I just could not sleep, and I needed to sleep. I was really tired, and I was worried about a few things at work. Anyway, fast forward to the next morning, I have a new boss. She caught up with me from the car park and was like, how